It's an exciting time and a great pleasure to welcome our 2023 Yidan Prize laureates. Today we have invited our panel head for education development, Dorothy, and our panel head for education and research, Andreas Schleicher, to share more about the exceptional achievements of our laureates. Andreas, can you tell us more about our 2023 Yidan Prize laureate for education research, please?
I'd like to warmly congratulate Professor Michelin Chi to the 2023 Yidan Prize for Education Research. Professor Chi has really laid the scientific foundations for developing and fostering the kind of learning that we need in the 21st century. In these times of ChatGPT, it's no longer enough for students just to accumulate passively knowledge and content, but they need to engage in learning in a very active way and in a way that also co-creates learning in interaction with others. In fact, Professor Chi shows that interaction, that collaborative learning, is the very DNA of innovation, of creation, of creativity that is the foundation for us as humans in the 21st century, and that makes us different from the artificial intelligence that we have created in our computers.
And Dorothy, can you tell us more about our 2023 Yidan Prize laureate for education development, please?
I think there will be people all around the world who will be thrilled to hear that Schleicher is being honored in this way. He's really turning the field on its head, you could say. Higher education is known to really make a difference in people's lives. It opens up so many opportunities, it changes your potential for earning, and it also changes perspectives on outlook. But for many, many years, and today for most people, it's either too expensive or else the way in which you can access the examinations, etc., make it so difficult for you to access, because in many parts of the world there's simply not enough university places. So he leverages technology to make a solution that's globally available and at low cost. It's making a huge difference.
Andreas, how is Michelin's work fostering greater engagement and understanding in students in different learning settings, and what is so unique about her approach?
She defines learning in 4 categories. There is the passive category, passive learning, like when you watch a video. There is the active learning, when you start to manipulate instructional material. There is the creative way of learning, when you sort of combine what you know with what you've just learned. And there's the co-creative way, where we learn through interactions. And by giving teachers that framework, they can actually design their instructional activities in a way that enhances the kind of learning that is most relevant.
How is her work relevant to teachers?
She has that passion to actually achieve impact on the ground. She knows that transformative impact that teachers have on students as learners. But she also understands that teaching itself needs to change, needs to transform, to become more relevant in the 21st century. But she gives teachers that understanding of how students actually learn, and then gives them the tools to become creative designers of innovative educational experiences that put that kind of theory into action. So she doesn't give a teacher a fish to eat, she teaches them how to fish.
And I guess we should go deeper into then her impact in the field of learning science. And what would you say will be the impact that she's been able to make?
I think the most important way in which Professor Chi is really transforming learning is by providing a uniting and overarching framework that categorizes and organizes learning. People think quite differently and have quite different strategies for teaching and learning, but she's brought all of that together in a very systematic way, and that helps teachers to organize themselves. Now, she starts out from how students think when they are instructed, and then she guides instructors to model their teaching and instructional experience around that understanding. And it's just a very, very powerful way to generate more superior outcomes in a very systematic way now.
So Dorothy, Schleicher's work reimagines tertiary education for students. Why is it so critical for learners today?
You could say that we've just been through an experience globally with COVID, where online learning suddenly became far more discussed. Online solutions were far more used. But what Schleicher has done is to pull together a group of people that are very well experienced in traditional higher education to make sure that the content is quality and that the monitoring and mentoring is of a certain quality. And since 2014, it's been accredited. This is the difference that he makes.
And I would like to focus a little bit more on the unique approach for our learners, maybe in the refugee context. Could you say something about that?
I think that University of the People is working with the United Nations in relation to refugees. As a refugee, you're often displaced from your home country into a situation where those around you are speaking a totally different language from what you're familiar with. Very often you could have gone through a situation where all your certifications have been lost through the violence and the conflict. What is very interesting is they've been able to translate the content of University of the People into Arabic, which is useful for the huge numbers of refugees that we see as a result of the Syrian conflict, for example. And in general, there's a huge number of internally displaced people in this part of the world.
Do you think this innovative approach would have been possible 20 years ago?
I don't think that we would have been ready for it 20 years ago in the same way we are ready for it post-COVID. But this is not an overnight phenomenon. He's been working on it for almost beyond a decade, actually. I think that now we have the devices, relatively low-cost devices, and that the solution has been designed so that you don't have to be continuously online, so data costs are not going to be a factor. So there are many things in the infrastructure that we have today that facilitate this, but the essence of it is to do with the volunteers and the support, the global support that he's managed to mobilize to ensure the quality of the product.
Okay. Well, Dorothy, Andreas, thank you very much for helping us select our 2023 Yidan Prize laureates. We appreciate your wisdom and guidance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edward.